Good evening, everybody. Here we are. I know you've been here long hours. We've been here long hours. And we are still working. We are working around the clock. And we have hope. We are working around the clock to find people and bring them out safely, because that's what our rescue team tells us they are doing. They have hope, and we're standing with them. They are working tirelessly. They are passionate about this. They are dedicated to finding people in the rubble. So we stand with them, and we're going to give them all the support that they need to get the job done. We've been joined by teams from all over the state, and we have the best people for the job, and we have the right people for the job. The people who are here are highly skilled and trained. They are the ones that go all over the world whenever there's a trouble spot needing this kind of rescue, and they are using the skills and the tools to get this job done, and as well they continue to believe that there are people that they can reach, getting through the crevices, pushing through walls, removing debris safely with the advice of our structural engineers. And so we stand with them to get this job done. So to the families who are waiting for news of their loved ones, we are giving them twice daily briefings with details of exactly how the search is being conducted. We are providing for their living and hotels, their meals. They're with chaplains. Many are celebrating the Jewish Sabbath right now at sundown. And we know that they are feeling very, very concerned, of course, anxious and wondering, but we are telling them that we are here working, praying, and really still hopeful that we will find more of their loved ones. Unfortunately, the numbers are the same that they were this morning. We have not found anybody else in today's search, but through the night we will continue, and God willing, there will be some good news later tonight or in the morning, and we'll be back. We have created a village here, a village of media, people all across the world watching, waiting, caring, donating. The world is watching, and the world is caring what happens right here in Surfside in Miami-Dade County. We are so grateful for the support of our cities, of our state, of our federal government. FEMA has come to the rescue. We're going to have more resources to pay for this expensive search and rescue, and to give us access to more teams for the rescue, later for the clearance of the rubble, and for the assistance for the families as they put their lives back together. So we're here, we'll continue, and please stand by us. Stand by us as we stand by the families. Thank you. Ay, en español. Aquí estamos, el tercer noche, y estamos todavía con esperanza. Estamos con las familias dando el apoyo que necesitan para la vivienda, la comida, para las necesidades, y sabemos que el mundo está con nosotros. El mundo está mirando lo que pasa aquí y rezando con nosotros, mandando donaciones, pensando en nosotros, el mundo entero. Estamos muy agradecidos por el apoyo que hemos recibido de las municipalidades, del Estado, del presidente, y finalmente llegó FEMA, que es de verdad algo muy, muy importante y algo muy raro, tener la ayuda tan rápido de FEMA, y han llegado para ayudar en el rescate, en rehabilitación del área, y también la ayuda que necesitan las familias. Y vamos a seguir, porque los bomberos tienen esperanza. Ellos son los mejores del mundo, y están siguiendo por los túneles de arriba con los perros, con el equipaje de escuchar las cámaras, todo, y estamos también sacando cosas de arriba para mejor entrar a ver lo que está pasando. Y aunque hoy no hemos encontrado a nadie, tenemos la esperanza que en esta noche vamos a descubrir personas vivas y que podemos decir esta noche o mañana que tuvimos éxito. Y con las familias estamos siempre dando el apoyo, y por favor ustedes sigan con nosotros. Su apoyo, su esperanza es muy importante. Gracias.
Alcaldesa, ¿puedo hacer una pregunta para México, por favor?
Vamos a
Ya lo vamos a hacer. Thank you, Madam Mayor. And now I'd like to call up to the podium Miami-Dade Fire Chief Alan Kaminsky.
Good evening. We continue our search and rescue operations. We'll continue throughout the night. This operational period, we're continuing with our strategy based on anything that new pops up. So we're using our equipment still with our dogs searching, seeing if we have any marks, as well as our sonar equipment, as well as video camera. Operation was still focusing underneath, trenching and shoring and looking at different aspects, as well as on top we're looking at delayering certain areas, certain components, and just seeing how we can gain access. We're giving 110%. We have multiple units on scene that we're rotating through, and we're going to continue our process.
Thank you, Chief. And for Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Spanish translation, we'll have Erica Benitez.
Muy buenas noches. Nosotros continuamos nuestra operación de búsqueda y rescate. En este momento estamos todavía con la esperanza de encontrar sobrevivientes. Estamos utilizando varias tecnologías, las cuales están disponibles para nosotros en esta clase de rescate, los cuales tenemos cámaras, también aparatos sonar, los perros que utilizamos, y todos estos equipos nos dan la seguridad de poder encontrar a sobrevivientes. Nosotros vamos a continuar esta operación esta noche y toda la noche. Esperamos, lo que queremos es lograr conseguir sobrevivientes en este momento. Sabemos que es un operativo que es bastante difícil, eso lo entendimos desde el principio, pero de todas formas nosotros seguimos presentes con este objetivo en mente. También quiero mencionar que nos llena el corazón mucho los gestos de generosidad de la comunidad y todos los gestos que han tenido con nosotros durante estos momentos tan difíciles. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. And now the Director of the Miami-Dade Police Department, Freddie Ramirez.
Good evening. The Miami-Dade Police Department will continue supporting the fire rescue operations. We're also helping at the Family Reunification Center as well. You know, there's a lot of pain, a lot of suffering there, and we pray for the families and those that we've lost. You will also notice some traffic pattern changes. Those changes are happening due to operational necessity. As equipment starts to come in, we need to provide a safe environment. Nuestros oficiales están ayudando al rescate, estamos dando soporte a los bomberos, y también estamos trabajando en la área de información para la familia. Estamos rezando para las familias, y también estamos haciendo cambios en la área de tráfico para poder traer los camiones y los otros equipos que necesitamos en el área. Eso es todo lo que tengo ahora. Gracias.
Thank you, Director. And now we're going to open up for questions. Please, when you're chosen, advise who you're going to have the questions directed to so we can have it organized.
Alcaldesa, por favor, lo que está por
Oh, one second. Go ahead, sir.
Can I ask a question of the chief? So, Director Ramirez says that they changed the traffic patterns because of new equipment. You're shutting down, hardening to the media because of equipment. Can you walk us through what equipment is coming in tonight and why it wasn't here already? Why you need it now and not before?
Well, yeah, there's multiple heavy equipment, cranes that we're bringing in, different larger pieces of equipment to help remove the debris. This is a very strategic, methodical process. You know, again, with this search, with this type of collapse, it's very extremely difficult. And so again, what we're looking for is areas of voids, possible patient survivability, and that's where we're focusing. As this equipment comes in, we'll use it to assist to move certain pieces of debris. We can't just move it all at one time. It has to be very slow processes. We're digging through, searching, shoring up certain areas, other aspects. So that's why. I mean, it doesn't come in right away. It comes in as we're going through, but we're also having that equipment. It's en route.
So we should see that tonight in use, those cranes?
I know one is being set up, so yes, we should see one. And again, I wouldn't say in use because we just have to see with our search groups and exactly what we're looking. But that asset will be there, so when we feel this is the time to use it here, then that's how we'll deploy it.
Thank you, sir.
Lobos from Ciel Televisa, Mexico. I'll ask you in English, and if you want to answer in English and Spanish, that's fine with you, Mayor. There was reports that the Mexican search and rescue team, Los Topos, that were interested in coming here to help and provide help. Are they here? Will they be here? Are you guys considering using them? And if I could get a follow-up after the chief answers, you say that you have hope that you'll find people alive. What tangible, I don't want to say evidence, but what tangible reason you have based to have hope still after over 36 hours?
Yes. So we've received offers of help, and we've accepted them, and I'm going to let the chief explain.
Yes, so we currently have 4 task force that are operating. Florida Task Force 1, which consists of Miami-Dade Fire Rescue frontline firefighters, as well as 3 other task force from within the state that are here. We did utilize as well task force members from Mexico that are here, so we kind of incorporated them or injected them with our current task force as we go out, and with search groups, so we utilize them in different capacities.
So they're here now. They're already on the
Yes, sir. They're here and they're assisting with our task force that we go out. Based on the members, we put them with other search and rescue groups, and then that's how we deploy them during their working group, their working operation.
When did they arrive?
They came here mid-morning is when they arrived, and we deployed them at 12 o'clock. Our operational periods are 12 hours, so right now we're going from 12 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight, and then we rotate the next search and rescue crews going through. So we inject it, and then yes, there's also members from an Israel team as well that we also are injecting. So I don't have the exact number of staff or personnel that we're utilizing, but we are deploying them with our current search and rescue operations.
So it's just Israel and Mexico at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would like to clarify that there's only a certain number of people that we can put out there, and so it isn't that we're putting out more people, it's that we're rotating them. So just to be very, very clear, we can't have people swarming all over this rubble. It has to be very, very carefully determined, and we are using the same numbers as we go forward.
Hi, Wendy Rhodes from USA Today. There's still a lot of concern that whether or not the building is stable, what's still remaining standing is stable, if it's a danger of falling on first responders. Can somebody talk about the stability of the building?
So we have structural engineers that are on site, and they're evaluating everything around, because of course our greatest asset are our search and rescue team, our firefighters. So they cannot be taking undue risks, and part of that is evaluating the building structure as well. So if there were concern that the building was unstable, that would affect the search, but they are continuing the search at this time. Okay.
Go ahead.
Mayor, I have a question. Normally when this kind of tragedies happen, there is a pattern of like going from phase 1 to phase 2. How many hours does it normally take, and what's the next step? I mean, will you continue on the same thing of the search and rescue for tomorrow?
Yes. So we're on search and rescue. Full speed ahead on search and rescue. And you ask, why do we have hope? We have hope because that's what our search and rescue team tells us, that they have hope. They see opportunities, they see fissures that they could go in, they see places that they could break through. And as long as they can do that, and as long as they have encouraging signs like the knocking sound that they've heard, then we will continue. People have been discovered in rubble over a week beyond the date of incident. And so they have experienced that. They've been in places where they've rescued people in that period of time. And so that is why we are continuing our search and rescue.
One last question. Go ahead.
Yes,
I'll get you one more.
Yeah, Brian Nelson, NBC6 News. Question for the fire chief. Earlier this evening, we saw a lot of smoke coming from the building. Can you maybe just explain why exactly we're seeing that? Does that impact the search and rescue?
Yes, it absolutely does. I mean, there's so many hazards we're encountering and the fire just compounds it. The fire is deeply seated, deeply rooted under the structure. So you've seen it in and out, and unfortunately we keep having flare-ups of it, and it's just not accessible. So those are the difficulties. That's another challenge that we're encountering, and we're constantly going in aggressively, trying to get as close as we can to extinguish that fire. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to get that extinguished 100% yet.
What's burning?
Those materials is unknown. I mean, yeah, we can't see exactly what's there, so I don't know what products are.
The fire is so deeply seated in the building. You approximate how hot the trouble is. Is it an area that's
That area would be difficult. I mean, depending on the fire, what's there, yes. I mean, absolutely a challenge. No, I'm not able to distinguish what the temperature is. It's just that it's so, so deeply seated. That's the challenge there. We can't get the water, right on the fire, which is what we need in that circumstance.
So in other words, it's a localized area that's on fire that you can reach, or is it multiple?
We believe so. I mean, we believe from where we're at, it's localized to a certain area. But we can't pinpoint exactly where it is because the location we unable to access it and see it.
And last question right here.
The fire chief, is there, the crews were spending a lot of time in one particular part of the debris field on like the northeast side. Is there anything you can give us with respect to details what we heard or saw that led them to focus that, and what the outcome of that was?
Yeah, well, again, I mean, this is going to be constantly evolving, with our searches. So any glimpse of hopes that we have, any signals that we see, that's where we want to primary focus. This is where we've been focusing for immediately with the operation, looking for those voids. What we're seeing on the outside is, just strategically, we're starting to expand our search patterns and what we're looking for within the pattern. So that's why you're seeing us spread out in specific areas to do searches there.
But there was nothing specific that caught your attention there or your crew's attention?
No, I mean, unfortunately, nothing specific. We're still doing our sonars, we're still doing our cameras, still using the dogs. Sometimes if the dogs do pick up a scent, we might focus more on that area, but nothing specific.
Not a question, just a request. If you guys can find an alternative spot for the press to kind of point cameras
Yes,
on.
Carlos. Where's Carlos? They're asking about an alternative site for the press.
Mayor, can I ask one more question about the people that are unaccounted for? And can you explain how, excuse me, Mayor, can you explain how of the 159, how you're trying to, through the process of elimination, take some names off that list of people who might not have been in the building?
Correct. Go ahead, Director.
Yes. We have a running list at the Family Unification Center. We're working with our 311 and also working with the families that are there, and that's how we start deducting from the list or adding from the information that we're getting from the family, from 311, from the roster of those that own the building. Also, people rented there too, so there's a lot of that as well, that ambiguity of who was renting at what time, and that's how we're running the list.
Carlos Rosario, Lieutenant with the Miami-Dade Police Department. Someone had a question regarding the locations for the press. So first I want to start off by saying that we thank all of you for being here and telling the story. This is very important for the entire community, and it really helps us tremendously in doing the fine work that we're trying to do. We talk about you every time we have our meetings, and understand that you want to be in locations that you want to tell the story and be able to tell not only through your words but through your cameras. There is some areas, for example, there was an area that we were set up earlier at that I talked to many of you, where this is an area that, as you know, there's large vehicles, machinery, large fire trucks that are trying to get through and they just couldn't. And we can't lose focus of what's really important here, and that's for our first responders to do their job. We are going to be looking for other options and other alternatives to be able to make it more comfortable for you guys. So we're going to continue to do that. The options are limited because we don't want to have you too far. As it is, the location we're at right now is pretty close. You're not at the angle from the side of the collapse. However, you have to understand the reasons why. We were there for a little while, and it just got to the point where our rescue personnel and our first responders need the space to work.
Even from the beach, sir, even from the beach, the access is getting limited. So in terms of
Well, we have to discuss that because there's a lot of factors that come in. There's a lot of press here. This is not 1 or 2 cameras. There's hundreds of cameras here. But we are with you. We're not against you. We're definitely going to look at every option and just follow us too on our social media channels for any further instruction. Okay? Thank you very much.
And now spokesperson for the Haitian Affairs for the Mayor, Cassandra Arnold, will be providing the Creole translation.
Bonsoir, nom c'est Cassandra Arnold, directrice d'affaires des Haïtiens pour magistrat. Magistrat voulait dire communauté à merci pour tout bagage yo fait. Nous voulons connaître que nous avons des familles, nous baillons manger 2 fois par jour à hôtel. Nous localisons 127 résidents, mais nous toujours besoin de joindre au moins 159 résidents. Pour rapporter un monde qui disparaît, en soir, nous connaissons que monde ça dans bonne santé, ni dans sécurité. Please, s'il vous plaît, relevez-nous dans 305 614 18 19. Encore nous voulons dire merci pour toute prière avec pour tout bagage à faire dans la communauté. Merci.
Thank you.